Welcome everybody to the cast from the coast. My name is Adam Miles, and I'm joined as always by Josh Lambert and Tim Johnson. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing special guest for you. Everybody, please welcome the amazing Felissa Rose.
Sweet. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. I know it's been a little bit of a situation trying to get you onto the show just because, I mean, everybody's so busy with everything going on.
Yeah.
You are absolutely killing it with your career right now. Like the amount of movies and stuff that you're putting out. It's crazy. It's crazy. Been looking at your IMDb for your current production and post-production stuff. So much on the go. Absolutely so much on the go.
Well, I'm grateful for it. I mean, it's exciting, and as I always say, I love this genre so much, and I just feel really just so thankful to be working. Oh, yeah. So super
Absolutely.
cool.
Is there anything? I mean, A Nun's Curse just hit video on demand. So we're seeing that being pushed. That's great. Anybody out there in the horror land, please check that out. Support. But I got to ask, is there anything that you're currently looking forward to, like on the plate, like beyond Nun's Curse, which just hit, that you can't wait for anybody just to say, this is my next favorite project? And I know that's a hard thing to choose, but what is the next big thing?
I'll have every director pissed off at me. Everyone's going to be like, you didn't mention this. I'm super excited about a movie I just wrapped in February called Scream Test. And I know it's a stretch, but I play a B-movie actress.
Whoa.
Opposite Dave Sheridan, Doofy from Scary Movie, and Vincent Ward from The Walking Dead. We had a blast. We filmed in Florida. And I just have to say, it was really fun playing that because it was like a movie within the movie. So I got to act in the movie and then play this diva.
Nice.
I know nothing about that.
That's great.
Oh.
So that was really fun. And I have a big creature feature coming out called Big Freakin' Rat. So I'm excited about that too.
Okay.
You just absolutely piqued Josh's interest. Josh takes everything that has to do with what you could potentially consider corny just from the name. And cheesy, whatever. Josh is all over that. So Big Freakin' Rat.
Big Freakin' Rat.
Big Freakin' Rat.
Tell me there's some crazy practical effects with a giant rat.
All practical effects.
Oh,
the
yes.
rat is insane, created by none other than one of my favorite effects guys, Joe Castro. And I don't want to say anything about my character, but I definitely have an encounter with the rat that is very exciting.
Oh, totally excited for that. Oh, you know what? And I never even noticed that one on the list by any means. So like, it was just so many on the list. I was trying to go through them going, look at everything here. You know what? I'm excited for Big Freakin' Rat now. This is going to be great.
I am intrigued.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That's fun.
Excellent. Yeah. And on top of what you're doing with the movies, you also co-host a web show and podcast for Fangoria with Tiffany and Kane. Casualty Fridays. How's that going? You just finished like a second season for it.
We did. We just we finished second season, and I have to say, working alongside those two, as the three of you know, it's so fun, just the back and forth, the banter, the Tiffany likened us to siblings. So she said she's the eldest, which is funny because she's really the youngest, but she's the oldest because she navigates the road, she leads us, she has her head on straight. Kane is the middle, rebellious, like we can't wrangle him, breaks all the rules, no boundaries, just you know, all the crazy stuff of the middle child. And I'm the youngest. She said, everyone loves Felissa and does whatever Felissa wants.
See, our problem is we're all the redheaded stepchildren.
We're just, yeah. But it's fun. Yeah. It's so fun working with two of your closest friends, you know. It doesn't get better than that. And I love the topics, and we just go off on a rant, and it's great to be in that room, and we just go off. So it's a good time.
Absolutely. And I mean, the big thing is too, is that with everything going on, I mean, there was a lull. So you did the ever so infamous and one of our favorite movies, Sleepaway Camp. And then there was nothing for years. And then all of a sudden you popped back onto the scene and just skyrocketed up again. And you became absolutely like pinnacle B-movie actress and getting the roles, and everybody loves to see Felissa Rose out there, and we're happy to see you back out there. So like, what happened in that time period? You just kind of took a break from everything, did your growing up, and then just decided to get back into it?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, you know, just I appreciate all of those kind words. Yeah, I mean, you know, I was only in 8th grade when I did Sleepaway Camp, so I was super young. And really, I wasn't getting any work. I mean, it's funny. Somebody just asked me on Twitter, like, what happened? Why weren't there any movies? And I just didn't get cast in anything. I did a lot of theater in New York. I did a lot of commercials. And that was it, you know, really kind of stopped. So I went to college. I didn't do Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. I did, you know, I went right to school. And I studied. And, you know, I think that was great because I really learned the craft. And then after that, when the internet came about, so old, people were like making websites dedicated to Sleepaway Camp. And from there, it was like, boom, I found out that other horror directors were like, come act, come be in my movie. And so, you know, the love of the genre and working as an actor really sort of was on full blast. But then I had my kids, and then my husband said, now you should really produce. And we talked about that, and that's when, you know, I started producing. So it's kind of like just an ever-growing love, and I'm happy with how it's going. So yay, very grateful.
Absolutely. Josh, you had a quick question following up on from like Sleepaway Camp and stuff. Do you remember that? Do you have that question? I want you to ask that.
Yeah. So you filmed it. You were like 13. You said, right? Like,
yeah.
That is insane. What is it like filming a cult classic that you literally weren't even of age to go watch? Like, so your mom's on set with you, I assume, quite a bit, monitoring, making sure you're not doing anything that's gonna scar you for life. Right. And
it was 82. It was 82. We got away with a lot.
Right. It just seems so surreal that you could have, at that point, a 13-year-old actress, being able to do what you did.
Yeah, you know, it's like I at that time I think it was more for my mom. Like my mom, I think, if I really think about it, you know, what did I know at 12, 13? It was like, oh, cool, like making a movie. This is great. And she's just a lunatic, like a stage mother. And once I got the part, she was with me the entire time. But for me, it was like just going to camp.
Right.
You know, it was like I was really at Sleepaway Camp. I mean, here I was with all these other kids who were a little bit older. They were like 16, 17. And, and basically what happened was I did what everybody else did at camp. I, you know, made out with boys. My kids are here. And, you know, we were boating and we were, you know, playing sports, and it was just a great time. But it wasn't until the movie came out, I took my whole 8th grade class to see the film, and I was like, what the is that? Holy, Is that really mine?
Excellent.
I'm still out.
Brilliant, brilliant.
And it's still like.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So, right in the middle of this here, before we go any further, I got to leave the floor to my good friend Tim here for a second because there's one thing Tim would like to do tonight. He'd like to kind of talk to you for a second about this. So, Tim, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Sleepaway Camp. Huge fan. I didn't see it. I didn't see it until probably 93, so I was 14, 15 when I saw it. And like, you know, it was kind of like one of those taboo, you shouldn't watch this movie. Whatever. I love horror movies. I'll watch it. I don't care. And I'm watching it, and you know, the basic premise, it's setting up, it's at a camp, and it's got kind of Friday the 13th vibes, and I'm loving it.
Very much like The Burning.
Yeah. And then you know, we're introduced to your character, and I'm like, oh, Angela, she's adorable, and like she's quiet, and all this kind of stuff, and you know, you don't talk through the whole thing, and then all of a sudden you talk, and it's like, oh, she's adorable, and then the movie goes on, and you're the killer. So, and then the ending happens, and this movie scarred me so bad that I forgot I watched it. Okay, I forgot I watched it. Fast forward to 2013, and you were up here in Nova Scotia for Summer Fear. You were one of the guests, and at that time I had a booth, and I was selling zombie pinup stuff, and didn't really realize, you know, who was the whatever. I was just there to, you know, make money. So I had a little downtime, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go see the guest. And Felissa Rose, Sleepaway Camp. And all those repressed memories came back, and I was absolutely terrified of you. Absolutely. I was like, well, it was 2013. I was like, you know, 35 years old, and you, 13-year-old you, struck right to 14-year-old me. I was terrified. I wanted to come out. I was going to get my signature. No, I was terrified.
Oh,
Turn around, walk back to my booth.
Tim, I'm not sorry. Okay.
I mean, that's just a testament to how, like, your portrayal was, like, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. And the funny thing is that the three of us watched it recently, and that movie still gets me. Like, that last scene with the look, and like, yeah, good job.
Thank you. And I really appreciate that, because it's hard. You know, you do your work, like you're doing your work, and you never really know how it will be embraced or what people really think. And, you know, you put your art out there, especially people have their opinions, and that's perfectly fine. You could love it, you could hate it, but so when I hear this, that it really struck you, it means a lot to me. It really does.
I watch horror movies all the time. I am absolutely obsessed with horror movies, and the list of how many actually get to me is very small. And this movie got to me so bad that I forgot I watched it. And then I'm rewatching it going, oh my God, that's the ending. Oh my God, that's what happens. And yeah, so I mean, it's one of those horror movies that it didn't stop. So
no, it's crazy because I think it, you know, obviously the ending is definitely shocking and crazy and weird, because the way they set it up with Angela being so shy and definitely sweet and vulnerable. And I think we all relate, because as a teen, we all have our insecurities during adolescence, and certainly we feel awkward, so we relate to her greatly. And then, you know, suddenly she has this grand secret that's like hits you over the head very, you know, impactfully. Like, you just, I think, you know, obviously when I saw it, it was a different experience.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, I was there for the scene, but I didn't know what it would look like in a theater on the big, you know, on the big screen. It looked, you know,
Yeah.
So
It looked
Weird.
when you did it, like, did you obviously you read the script, but like, did you realize what this was like when it was all
No,
put together? You know what I mean?
no, I really didn't. Especially because you make a movie where it's a few pages at a time, or a scene or two. So I'm laughing in between. I really, and it was my first movie, so I had no idea. I'm a kid. I'm just playing. I'm, not really sure what's going on. I knew what the ending was. I was there. The close-ups are my face. I was covered in blood. But I didn't know anything about the difference between making a movie and watching a movie. So certainly when I saw it for the first time with my parents and my friends, and I was like struck, like, what in the first penis I saw was my
Brilliantly put. Brilliantly put.
it's like scary, but it was a lot of fun. And Sleepaway Camp is the fabric of my life. I mean, my husband was a big fan. We met because of it. He was in a band called CKY, and from that band, he had put the Angela face on his shirt and his CD and his guitar. So it gave me a professional career, a personal career. So forever grateful. Like, there's not enough times that I could say how tremendous my gratitude is just to work in the genre and having done that film means everything. And speaking with you, it just thank you.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it's had a profound impact. Like when Tim was talking about the Summer Fear Festival in 2013 when you came to Nova Scotia, I actually helped to MC that event with Richard Duggan. So the previous year, Kane Hodder was there. The year before that, it was Gunnar Hansen, Don Shanks and Steve Dash were there after you too. But that was the year when you were there that I met Tim, because he was selling his wares there, and I was emceeing the event. I'd never met Tim before, and he lives in a different part of the province than me. And we hit it off, and it was all things horror, and it was one of those great experiences. And I got my picture with me standing beside you, and you're doing the infamous face, and it's like, yay, you know what I mean? So horror brings the community together, and meeting wonderful celebrities such as yourself, it's just nonstop.
I'm a huge fan of the genre, so I get so stupid when I'm at conventions. Half the time I can't even go over to the people I love because I get really shy and weird. But even meeting Kane like 10 years ago was like a trip for me. Meeting Adam Green, I like Joe Bob Briggs, so many people who I just adore. And it's, like, I'm a freak, and I forgive my dogs. The hazards of being home during quarantine.
Absolutely.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. Folks, when we're not making those great movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nukamai, aka Volume 2, the Troma team and I like to kick back and listen to They Cast from the Coast. They Cast from the Coast is really the best entertainment, the best education, and the best emotional liberation that Lloyd Kaufman can possibly experience. Thank you.
And you brought up a really good point there earlier. You married into metal royalty.
Oh my God, he's right here.
No way.
Yeah, he did. I think he did. I heard the joke. He'll have to come.
Oh, it's all good. But I mean, this is it. It plays to some of the projects that you have been producing with your productions. You produced the Slayer, Repentless Trilogy, which is
And that was really because of my husband.
Yeah, like it's incredible. Like, you know,
Yeah.
with everything that's going on, you branch out so wonderfully into this. And I remember following you on Twitter and Facebook, and seeing Slayer appear in my feed all of a sudden. I'm like, no way, this is incredible. And the videos were amazing, and just it's been incredible to see you flourish like this. Is I guess what I'm getting at here. So
thank you. Yeah, no, it's because of Darren. I mean, Darren was with the same label, Nuclear Blast, and they were telling him that they wanted to make some videos for Slayer or make one video. And he said, oh, talk to my wife. He was pushing me like, oh, she's a producer. I'm like, and and they were like, yeah, can you really make a horror movie? And I'm like, yeah, we'll bring in all our friends. And, you know, that's how we brought in like the cast. Just calling friends, hey, want to come play? Want to come to the set? You want to? And that was fun. Repentless, the first one in the prison. That was like a dream.
Absolutely, quite the list of friends and cast. You just calling up people. I mean, it had like everybody: Danny Trejo and Derek Mears and Tyler Mane. And it's like,
Tyler Mane, Vernon Wells, Sean Whalen, Tony Moran. Yeah, it was super cool. Oh, can you call Lola? She's see it night. One kid's calling me from down the street.
It's all good. It's all good. Crazy. So I'm gonna leave the floor here for if Josh and Tim have any other questions or anything that they want to gush further about, because I'm gushing. I'm fangirling here. So Josh, you got something else?
I just want to talk about how this film was made. Like, this film, I've watched a couple documentaries on it, and it seems like it was so unorthodox it was almost doomed to fail, and yet somehow all came together. The director just had this strange way of casting, of interviewing the different people that they were going to use to cast, the techniques, and then just instead of getting a bunch of 26-year-olds that look young, you get a bunch of 16, 15-year-olds and set them in a camp, and you get imagine that, you get a realistic view of what camp is like.
It's true, yeah. I know, we didn't even read from a script. When he auditioned us, we did improv. So he had me come in the room and he wanted me to just stare, and he said, eat a candy bar. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. So I thought I would be funny. And I was like eating a candy bar and picking my teeth and trying to be, little did I know this was not a funny role. This was not comedy. But he and I connected, Robert, and I had a really nice relationship from the very beginning. I actually walked out of the first audition and said, oh my God, I think I got this part. And my mom was like, yeah, okay. And then they called me back, and that's when they told my mom about the ending. Would it be okay? And, you know, we had to do a scene, an improv scene in front of the producers. Well, I had to just pretend that I was like hanging out with a boyfriend. And I thought, oh, this is fun. Because, you know, I'm 12 at the time. I'm like, ooh, I like boys. Ooh, this is fun. It just all seemed fun. It didn't seem like anything other than legit, you know, authentically being played out, kids camp, the sun, you know, riding the boats.
That's one of the reasons why this movie, I think, reached cult status, honestly, other than just the ending. The fact that when you watch it, it doesn't feel scripted. It almost just feels like you're filming a bunch of kids at camp. Mind you, there's a murderer happening. But...
yeah, especially the baseball scene. It's like, and it was all scripted. The whole movie, we were on, you know, on the page. So it was all.
To put things into perspective, we're coming up on 100 episodes, and Sleepaway Camp is one of only 2 movies that I've reviewed that I've given the highest rating to.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And I so appreciate that. I mean, I know it's like a cheesy 80s, like we love the
best kind though.
We all talk like this.
Yeah.
It's the best kind though. That's what gets you. Josh actually has a very strict list of I don't even want to call them movie morals. They're just code. It's a code of things that a movie has to follow.
Code of horror.
And he literally, we made him sit there and justify every single item on his list to make sure that he gave it the proper. And he goes through it and he goes, "That's it. That means this is like the perfect movie to me."
Shit, I gotta rate
this an X. Yeah, rated X for excellent.
Yeah, that's funny.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. To me, it's like a comedy now. You know, you could watch it and it's hilarious.
Awkwardly hilarious in some cases, but yes.
Yeah, really, really. I know it's fun when I have to explain it to my kids, you know. My son is 10 and he's like, Mom, why are you always talking about your dad? You know, like, well, it's a pretty cool penis. Okay.
You'll understand one day, son. You'll understand one day.
Even my poor daughters are like, always rolling their eyes at me, like, this one and her penis.
This one and her penis.
And her penis, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh man.
So funny.
All right, Tim, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do. So you said you're a fan of horror movies.
Yeah.
And you're stuck at home. What are you gonna watch?
Well, we did. My husband and I have been watching what we have on VHS that has not been put on DVD or Blu-ray. We were doing Silent Madness, The Dorm That Dripped Blood, I think Dolls was one of them. So we were going through like some oldies but goodies, and then a lot of like kind of standards that we love. We both love The Strangers. I'm like a big home invasion.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
And the simplicity.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's so masterfully perfect. I love that movie. Like, I'm a little obsessed with that movie. I love funny games. If you like home invasion, I love funny games.
Funny games was good.
The American, because I'm also a big Naomi Watts fan, and her performance in that is riveting. Like, the arc in that movie is crazy. And then, like, Halloween, the new Halloween, we just watched the other night. We go through and we just kind of decide, like, we actually just watched a Nun's Curse together the other night. We got completely trashed. My kids are like, oh God. Adrian King sent us some wine. So we've been drinking like bottles of wine a night, and we watched Nun's Curse. So Darren had a lot to say about it. He's it's funny to watch with him because he's such a hardcore critic. Like, I watch every movie and I love pretty much everything about it. If you can get a movie made, holy shit. Like, that's incredible. It's like trying to walk to the moon. It really is. It's staggering. It's just really quite a feat. So, but he's like, oh, what about? Well, how come you didn't do that? And I'm like, just shut up. But he loved the cast, he loved the location, and he loved the ending. So that was good.
Nice. Okay.
And he liked my makeup. And my makeup was pretty cool, done by Sean Crumboltz and Tony Rosen. And Tony created the Annabelle dolls, so that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah,
very cool. I mean, the trailer's been promoted all over Facebook, so people check out the trailer, check out the VOD. Get that rented, get that looked at, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, and even just supporting any indie horror, like. Everybody, all my friends. Oh, I just watched Porno.
Oh yeah, the one I haven't seen it yet. The one the Fangoria.
That's the one I linked you to.
Oh, I'm a little obsessed because it's different. First of all, it takes place in '92. Like, that's an interesting, time to set a film, and I love the whole idea of them working in the movie theater, and it was just really good. And I hate to spoil it, but. Holy crap, the effects in that movie, wow. I can appreciate. There's a lot of dick in that film. I'm just like, wow, they really just, no pun intended, they were like balls to the wall in that. I had to moderate that panel. I was like, holy crap, with the dick in this film. Whoa. I'm like, you guys get the award. You get the Mangled Dick award.
I remember that when you did the live QA and the panel on like Facebook Live for Fangoria and stuff. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was good.
I couldn't get over the penis in that film.
Oh man! So if you're looking for a movie with good like penis in it, Porno.
Great cast. I'm in love with the cast. I'm in love with the director. Please check out Porno. I have nothing to do with it other than I love him. I'm a fan. And that's how I am. Like, I was a huge Hatchet fan. I was just like, oh my God, Adam Green can't do anything wrong. I love him. God, it would be a dream, to even meet him. And, that was like, I'm still flying high. I'm on cloud 9 having done Victor Fowler.
Absolutely. It was probably, besides Angela, It's my other favorite character is how you portrayed.
I agree. You were yeah.
And the best part was the whole thing that it was a surprise movie. As soon as it was like announced, I was like, and Felissa's in it. This is incredible. And it never disappointed at all.
Oh, I'm so glad. We had so much fun making that. And we did a reading at his studio like a couple of weeks before we filmed. And just going through, some of my lines are hilarious. Like, I get migraines when I do stuff. I'm like, oh, is this wrong? He's like, well, I really wrote it with you in mind. I'm like, am I like the biggest ass? The biggest New York idiot. Like, do you want Vicodin?
Yeah, I love it when you pull out the box. It's just like, it's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
It was just a rainbow of pills. I'm like, that was the first scene we shot, and I was like, I don't even know how to pronounce half this shit. Like dilaudid. I was like, is there a pill expert on this? It was so fun working with that cast. Was really great. Q. I'm a huge Impractical Jokers fan.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love Q. He's so great. Fun cast.
Yep.
Tiffany Shepard, my bestie.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well,
She's a riot.
yeah, your
Our
leader. So,
She's the leader, man. Kane and I call ourselves Dumb and Dumber. We're like, if we didn't have tips, we'd be fucked. Because she's like always reeling us in. We're like, wait, can we get drinks? She's like, shut up. We're doing the podcast. We're like, does anybody have a bottle of vodka for us? Just like, get it together.
oh yeah. So where do you film Casualty Fridays to? Is it like just like some studio space you rent, or?
We did season 1 in Dallas. We were at the Fangoria offices.
Okay.
And then we did season 2 in LA at someone's studio. And if there's season 3, who knows where it'll be.
I like that. I like that.
It's too fun. And Kane especially is telling stories. He said like he's never told some of these stories. So that's even exciting for us to hear.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to become redundant or repetitive with kind of telling. Like, we've heard a lot of stuff, but yeah, it's interesting to hear what he has now on the
I'll tell you, it's one story I haven't heard him tell on the actual podcast, but did he ever tell you the story about when he came to Nova Scotia and showed up at the motel where he was staying, the train motel?
No.
Okay, I'm not even going to say anything. You need to ask him the story about when he showed up. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning at the motel.
Just tell it. I'm sure everybody on the show. Just say it. Just say it. It's a funny story.
Well, he'll tell it better, guaranteed. But apparently, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. They had just gotten in from Halifax to drive all the way up to Tatamagouche, and it was the on-site. I think you stayed in it too. It was like a train.
I did, and I got in the morning.
Yeah, so he gets in, and they give him the key to his room, and he goes, and he got up to like the train box, and the door was unlocked, and he walked in, and he turned on the light, and there was a couple in bed, and they jump up, and they're screaming. Here's Kane Hodder standing in the damn doorway staring at them at like 1:30 in the morning. Or whatever. And they're damn near shit themselves, and apparently he was just like, sorry, turned off the lights and just turned around. Realized he was one train thing over, something like this. And the people were not even there for the convention the next day. They were just like this couple that was like spending the random night there.
That's crazy. I think my train, that was only one room.
Yeah, there was the way that they had it set up, like each train box is like one room basically, and then there was like, on the other side and everything else. But yeah,
that was so fun. I loved being there.
It was a blast. It was a blast. It's
nice.
It's a fun place, and Richard was a good guy for putting it on. So we always had fun. So we're looking forward to more like that in the future, maybe.
Do you still have that?
Unfortunately not. A couple years ago, it just became harder and harder to find people to come down, and with the economy kind of crashing the way that it was. So maybe one day it'll kick back off, and we'll see Felissa Rose back in Nova Scotia again. Maybe. You never know.
Casualty Friday will come.
Oh,
Three
we'll
of
get
us.
the well. If
We'll get
things
the-
kick off, then maybe it might be some sort of like a collaboration, and we get
That's right.
Casualty Friday
That
down
would-
here, and they cast from the coast,
that
and
would
everybody
be
else will do
amazing.
panels. That'd be great. That'd be great.
That would be so cool.
So, open floor for anything else. Josh, Tim, do you have anything else to ask?
No,
I know you just want to gush. You just want to say more. I know.
I know.
No coherent words.
Yeah, no
All right.
coherent words, just stammering and stuttering.
Okay. If that's the case, then we're going to call it a close for the show tonight, everybody. And
well,
right off the bat, we want to
you.
say thank you so much, Felissa, for coming on the show with us.
Thank you.
So
So
check out
grateful.
Felissa's
Thank
work.
you for having me.
Oh well, once again, thank you. And we look forward. Maybe we'll have you on again here shortly, and not too long from now, and when things have kicked off, and there's another Big Freakin Rat's coming out. Maybe we'll talk to you about Big Freakin Rat after it's come out.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for tuning in. Check us out on Facebook under the Misunderstood Art Company, on YouTube Misunderstood Art Company. Check out we're on Patreon, so open up your hearts and your wallets. We're on all the major platforms for podcasting. We're on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play. Don't forget to check out Casualty Fridays on the podcast network from Fangoria and everything else, once again, that Felissa is producing, and this is great. And until next time, Josh.
Felissa, you had me at your bird flapping in the summer breeze, and now you reeled me back in with giant freaking rats. I don't know what to say other than we love you, and we can't wait to see you in more.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much.
Oh, and Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
Excellent. So thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.
Bye.